We just came back from a trip, so I have so much to catch up on, so much to organize and prepare around here. So we're gonna make food, get ready for the week, and then I also want to share with you several things that have dramatically changed my homemaking over the years. While we were over in colonial Williamsburg in Virginia, taking in all of the sights and the history, we got so much rain back here at home. Luke had already planted most of the garden, and the landscaping, everything popped up from last year, and it's looking green and beautiful, except for the cicadas that are on absolutely everything. Good thing is the chickens enjoy them, so that makes for some pretty cheap chicken feed. Right before we left on our trip, we had a lot of milk left, so I turned that into yogurt so that it would be preserved while we were gone. I knew if I left anything just as regular milk, when we got back, it would be sour beyond what you'd want to drink. But turning it into yogurt and kefir preserved it. So for breakfast today, we are just enjoying yogurt. I have some Purely Elizabeth granola in the basement and some maple syrup, so that'll make a really easy breakfast while we ease back into it. I have so much laundry from the trip. I like to bring the suitcase in and completely start all the laundry, put the suitcase away, so that way it's not too overwhelming the next day. But of course, there's a lot of laundry. You know, when I first became a homemaker, the task was quite overwhelming. Of course, as a kid, I had lots of chores. I had to help with the laundry and the dishes and cleaning and all of that. But ultimately, organizing all of that, figuring out when cleaning day should be, what to make for dinner, how to keep the laundry going so that it's never overwhelming, how to stock the pantry so we always had food in the refrigerator, and make sure that everybody had the swimsuit they needed, the shoes they needed as they were outgrowing them. That fell on mostly my mom's shoulders and my dad, some too, but the homemaking did not all fall on me. When I first got married, it was an adjustment trying to figure all these things out. As a homemaker, not only are you responsible for keeping the home relatively clean, keeping food on the table and the dishes done and all of that, but then there's also inventory, figuring out if everybody has what they need to go to the pool as I'm organizing the swim stuff from our trip, that everybody has shoes to wear, that you have a present for the upcoming birthday party or the meal planned for potluck, that the baseboards don't have spaghetti sauce all over them. Figuring out the systems that you need to put in place in order to keep all of these balls in the air can be a bit challenging, but I do want to tell you that they get so much easier over time when you put in place systems that work for your schedule, work for your personality type in your family. It can be all so much easier. I also noticed whenever I first became a homemaker that everything was very repetitive. Just as soon as you clean all the dishes and the kitchen's perfectly clean, you need to eat again. Over time, I have learned to be okay with that and to even enjoy the flow in our home and the satisfaction that comes from bringing order and beauty out of sometimes chaos. The biggest game changer for us in our home, and what I find almost crucial at this point with having 10 people that live in this house, is to simplify everything. We have simplified our possessions, simplified our laundry routine, our dishes routine, our meal planning, even scheduling has been highly simplified, and it makes a world of difference. Something that I do very regularly is load up the back of the van with things that we need to declutter. Recently, I went through all of the kids' drawers, and the girls went through theirs as well. When I say kids and girls, the girls are teenagers, all the boys are younger. So the girls went through their own things. I went through the boys to find things that don't fit anymore, things that have holes. We got rid of the things that are no longer wearable, passed down or donated, the things that no longer fit. This is a constant process, and I think I used to feel somewhat guilty about that because that means at some point you picked up something that you no longer need. And in a family that's my size, there's a lot of it because we have 10 people, well, not really 10 because Luke and I don't really outgrow things anymore, but we have 8 people that are outgrowing things on a regular basis. We have 10 people that wear things out. We have projects or things that we need for a certain project. And once that project has ended, there might be some leftover things. With this many people, there is just a constant need to stay on top of our home and make sure that every single thing in it is serving our family in some way and not just taking up space and being something that I have to maintain and manage. My number one goal when considering the amount of items in our home is that I can, at any time, no matter how messy this place is, bring it all completely back in order for every room in the house in less than 30 minutes. That is the goal. As soon as that is no longer possible, I know that we need to declutter or reorganize in some way. One thing I do every year, twice a year, always in May and October, usually once we're very securely past needing coats in any way, shape, or form, I do a big swap out for summer. So all of the stuff that we need to bundle up all winter and spring is going downstairs, and I'm just going to have this closet full of life jackets and swimsuits. This kind of biannual swapping, though a job in that day, does make my life so much more streamlined and easy the rest of the year. There have been years where I try to just leave about half the stuff here and there because it feels like a big job, but ultimately it's one day of really simplifying everything that will serve me for the next 6 months. When I look in this closet, I can only see the things that we currently need at this time. So it's very worth it for me. I do the same thing with the kids' clothes. I make it to where they only have access to the summer clothes in the summer and winter clothes in the winter. Usually I will leave one long sleeve and one jacket and one pair of jeans or something. So that way, in case they're going camping or we have a random cold spell, but for the most part, majorly simplifying the clothing, the shoes, the accessories that kids need, the footwear, bringing down any snow boots and leaving up water shoes and goggles and all of those summer things accessible makes everything just so much more streamlined. I am excited to share with you today's sponsor. I think it'll be helpful for many people. As a postpartum mom, I'm not sure if I can still call myself that, but I did have a baby 10 months ago. I know what all goes into postpartum and the challenges that it can present. One thing that a lot of people struggle with is postpartum hair issues. And Nutrafol has created a vitamin supplement that can definitely help with that. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand with physician formulated products that are trusted by over 4,000 healthcare professionals as well as hairstylists across the country for reliable results. Their award-winning hair growth nutraceuticals support women and men through different life stages, postpartum, menopause, and lifestyles with their multi-targeting root causes of thinning from within with 100% drug-free natural ingredients. Nutrafol women and postpartum supplements improve hair growth with visibly more thickness, visibly less shedding, and faster growing, longer, stronger hair. 90% of women saw overall improvement in their hair after 6 months. 84% saw less shedding after 6 months. It's made with 100% drug-free natural ingredients like ashwagandha, marine collagen peptides, saw palmetto, and curcumin. The supplement targets the core issues that cause hair growth, such as stress, hormonal changes, nutrition, metabolism, aging, and lifestyle factors. Take Nutrafol once daily with a meal for 3 to 6 months consistently. It's that consistency that is key in supporting these underlying issues. Join me on this hair growth journey. The link will be in the description box below. You can get $50 off your first 3 months or $106 off your first 6 months. When you use my link, the promo will be applied at checkout. Hurry up because this is a limited time offer. Again, the link will be in the description box below. Thank you so much, Nutrafol, for sponsoring today's video. Another way that we have streamlined and simplified our home is in the kitchen. I was having this conversation with my sisters after the trip I was reflecting because I had just gotten back from the trip. We went straight from the airport out to my parents' house because everybody was getting together for Mother's Day. So we went up there and I was telling my sisters about the trip and reflecting on staying in Airbnbs for a week. We usually like to get an Airbnb that has several rooms, not just a hotel room, because with our family, that makes a lot more sense. I also like to always have a washer and dryer. And I was lamenting to them just about how when you go on vacation, how much you appreciate the way that your own home is set up, because it is so difficult to function in a place that isn't your own. I think mostly that's probably because you don't know where everything is. They don't have all the things you need, but also the setup. One thing I did not like was, which we'll go more into laundry in a little bit, but the washer was this high efficiency washer and it never put enough water onto the clothes to fully clean them. And I learned a trick. My sister said she has a washer like that and she just presses the heavy duty and then it gets clean. But she tested it on hers. I'm going way off topic here. She tested that on her own washer. And whenever she didn't press the heavy duty, she said her clothes didn't come out clean at all. So I was having that trouble on the trip because I'm used to my Speed Queen, which fills up, covers the clothes, has a center agitator. Everything gets so clean. And then I didn't really know how to work these high efficiency washers with the super duty or whatever button you press. But then also the dishes setup, you all know I'm kind of weird about dishwashers. I don't find that they save me a whole lot of time because in order to simplify our kitchen, we keep less dishes and we also just use them over and over again. I cook 3 meals a day here. Things are constantly in rotation. And whenever I have to put them into a dishwasher, then they're gone and I need them. And if I didn't deal with the mess right away, which is what we typically do, as soon as we're done eating, we clean the dishes really fast before anything has a chance to stick on. If I put it in the dishwasher, then something was stuck on, so I have to really clean it because I need it for something else and I haven't yet ran the dishwasher. And so in the Airbnbs, I was using the dishwashers just because the setup wasn't there to let things drip dry. They didn't have a drain board or a towel or some kind of dishes rack. This will be different for everybody depending on how you like to do things. But having your kitchen simplified with the things that you use and only those things, not a whole lot of extra gadgets, having the setup for either the dishwasher, if that's what works for you, or a drain board or ways to quickly access the dishes, put them away, dry them, whatever that system may be, is so important. We keep the same approach with our laundry routine. We just wash it as it comes in. I'm not a huge sorter. Just as the washer fills up, we run it, we put it to the dryer, and then we have a basket system in the laundry room. I recently implemented more baskets so that it can be sorted 5 different ways. So I have my 3 youngest boys, except for the baby. They each have their own basket above the washer and the dryer. And then Luke and I and the baby have a basket, and then the other kids have a basket. And then we separate out any towels or dish towels or swimsuits or things that don't fit into those 5 baskets. So when clothes go from the washer to the dryer, there is then a quick sort. You're not allowed to take the clothing and the towels and everything out of the dryer without doing that sort. You have to instantly address it. And once you break it down into all of those baskets, you actually, unless you're coming home from a trip and there's tons of laundry, you can go a little while without putting the laundry away because at least it's all in the right basket. In the summer, especially when clothes don't have that same bulk to them, they don't fill up very fast and we mostly all tend to work out of them. I go into my basket and get clothing to wear for the day while I'm in the bathroom in the morning. The kids do the same. So sometimes a lot of the clothes don't even make it to dressers. They just go from washer to dryer to basket, repeat. Another system that I try to implement in my kitchen is to clean completely between each meal. This way the mess doesn't become overwhelming. I wipe down the counters. A lot of times I wipe down the cabinet fronts. That's not an everyday thing. Make sure that all the dishes are washed. They don't necessarily have to be put away. I'm okay with them drip drying, but that we are ready for the next meal. We're ready to cook again. Don't feel the need in your home to fill every storage space that you have. We have a large home, somewhat large. I don't know, for a family of 10, it might not be considered overly large, but our farmhouse is pretty good size. We have several pieces of furniture throughout the house because we don't have closets, and several of the drawers are empty or only half filled. My goal is to even behind closed doors, inside drawers, to keep things as minimal as possible. Of course, there are going to be a lot of things because we have a lot of people, but to keep it as minimal and essential as we can. Since we just got back from a trip, I don't have any food set out. I don't have any meat thawing in the refrigerator. I had some bread that I stashed into the freezer right before we left. It was a quick, like, what can I preserve really quick before we leave? So I put several half loaves of bread into the freezer, put my sourdough starter in the refrigerator, fermented the milk into yogurt and kefir. I also stashed the water kefir in there. So now I just strained off the milk kefir grains. I put some meat in the fridge for the week, and now I'm making my water kefir.
Sourdough? I make sourdough?
Yeah, I'm making soda!
Yay!
That's it for a few days and it'll be soda. Since I don't yet have any meat thawed from being out of town, we have tons of cheese because I did a huge haul from Azure Standard on raw cheddar cheese, and I had some bread that I thawed out from the freezer that I had stashed in there before we left. I'm just gonna do the easiest meal ever. Not the most nutritious in the whole entire world, but it will do. Grilled cheeses. Another aspect to simplifying homemaking is in the preparation of food. I try to keep this, for the most part, very basic. I keep several things that we buy over and over again that you can always find in our refrigerator and our pantry, and try to mix them up in many different ways so that we don't run out of food, but we also don't waste food. I try to stock things that don't go bad, like cheese, for example. If you look at the raw cheddar cheese that I got from Azure Standard, the expiration date is in 2025. So I can make sure that we have a large amount of that so that I always have it on hand ready to go, but also it won't go bad. Things like root vegetables, carrots, onions, potatoes, garlic, celery, they keep for a really long time. And so I make sure that we're well stocked. I keep basics on hand, like pasta sauces and quality pastas and flour and seasoning and condiments. My goal is to always have options, even if they're just the easiest ever options. Lots of eggs. You can always fry eggs, have toast. My strategy with sourdough, and I've shown this on this channel in so many real life applications, is just to, if and when I have a little bit of extra time in the kitchen, to throw together some doughs and not really worry about the timing. So if I get the notion before bed one night to mix up a focaccia, I can let that ferment overnight at room temperature. Then in the morning, put it in the fridge until I'm ready to use it. The same thing goes for pizza doughs and pie crusts. Try to prep when you have a little bit of extra time. With a family my size, there's really no chance that we won't end up eating it at some point. So I really can't overmake. If I make a bunch of doughs, put them in the fridge, over the course of the next week or two, we will end up getting to them at some point, and I'll be really happy that I got that prep work done so that in a busy moment, in a pinch, I can pull it all together. I'm a planner, trust me. I plan a lot of things, especially when it comes to my business. But there are so many things that we can over plan, and quite honestly, we can waste a ton of time. Instead, consider a rhythm and a flow. When I have a little bit of extra time, I'll make something. I don't have to write it down. I don't have to pencil it in. I can just do it when time is presented to me. That's mostly the strategy that I take with my homemaking, learning this flow and becoming familiar with the needs of my home and my family in an intuitive way that doesn't require me to overthink it has truly transformed my homemaking. And I hope it was encouraging for you as well. Thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.